In this video, we're going to be covering, in my opinion, what the best neighborhoods in Charlotte are for young professionals. This is such an important topic because recent studies have shown that over 100 and I think the new number is like 113 people move here every single day. A good portion of those people are young professionals relocating for jobs because Charlotte has such an incredible job market with Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Atrium, Novant, Red Ventures, Honeywell, you name it. People are moving here every single day for jobs. So where do you want to live if you are a young professional looking to live in Charlotte, North Carolina? Let's dive in. So when you're looking to relocate to a different city, it can be a little overwhelming of what neighborhoods to choose. I know when my husband and I were first looking at moving to Charlotte, it felt a little bit different than what I was familiar with. Like, you know, in Florida, everything kind of felt the same. You know, depending on where you were, it was like there wasn't a drastic difference from one block to the next. Where in Charlotte, I felt totally different. You could be on one street and you could be in multi-million-dollar homes, and then you go one street over and it was a neighborhood that totally different that, you know, I wouldn't necessarily want to live in. So for me, it was a new experience and I found it a little bit different than what I was used to. So I think it's really important to cover where you want to live if you are a young professional in town. So we're just going to go ahead. We're going to start off with a really common, popular neighborhood. You've probably heard of it. The neighborhood is called NODA. So what's so special about NODA? Well, it's located just 3 miles away from Uptown Charlotte. The light rail runs right through it. It has a couple stops actually in that neighborhood of NODA. So this is actually one of the cities that if you live in Charlotte, you might not need a vehicle. Or if you're a family, you might not need more than one vehicle. I know several friends of mine live in that neighborhood and they get by with just one car and it works just fine, especially if you're working from home or if you're doing like half and half remote, going to the office kind of thing. So you can actually get away without having a car in this particular neighborhood. And I say that with such emphasis because Charlotte in general is not a walkable city. That is one of the biggest things that draws people to this area is the walkability factor. And if you have to go somewhere else within the town or within the city, you can hop on the light rail and you can still get wherever you need to go. So NODA is known for its culture. It has a very expressive, a very artistic kind of feel to it. As you walk through the streets, if you go down Plaza or Central, you'll see like art murals everywhere on the sides of buildings, and they're intentionally put there, and there is not graffiti. While you can see some graffiti in certain places, this is not graffiti. It is actually like artistic murals that the neighborhood is known for. So it's a really cool feature. Down in NODA, you've got coffee shops, you've got co-working spaces, you have some of local restaurants and bars. So you've got the nightlife scene, you've got the walkability feature. There's a Harris Theater not too far from there. So NODA is one of the most well-known neighborhoods. It also is neighbored by a neighborhood called Plaza Midwood. So we're gonna kind of clump these into one. Plaza Midwood is again the neighboring neighborhood. You can walk in between the two. Plaza Midwood also has its own little downtown feel on Plaza and Central. You know, they've got Workman's Friends. They have the neighborhood Harris Teeter. They've got Peculiar Rabbit. Rabbit is a rooftop bar down there. They've got coffee shops as well. So they both have a little bit of a similar feel, and NODA is going to feel or to be on a little bit more artistic feeling of it. So that's gonna be the differences between them. Is NODA feels very eclectic, very artsy, where Plaza Midwood has like the historical homes on Central and just a little bit of a more clean feeling, I guess. So those two neighborhoods I'm just gonna clump them into one because they are pretty similar in terms of what you get. Both walkable, both have light rail stations, both have a little downtown area, both are huge appeals to young professionals here in Charlotte. So the cost of living right now, it has gone up a lot. I know when we first moved here about 7 years ago, NODA in particular was going through kind of a gentrification process. It was changing a lot. You know, we were getting these original bungalow style homes or ranch style homes were getting knocked down, and these larger homes are getting put up by developers and stuff. And there is still some of that going on. A lot of it has already happened. So your average price point in these two areas are going to be in between 7 and $1 million, depends on what side you get. Now you can get still a small original home. It's probably gonna need a lot of renovations, and that's probably gonna run you about $600,000. Or you can get one of the larger 2-story homes, probably gonna be about 2,300 square foot to 3,000 square foot, and that can run you anywhere from 8 to 1.3. So there's a ton of different variety. The one thing that I noticed about Charlotte in general, so in Florida, it was all like land was bought by developers, just big plots of land, and these subdivisions were put up. So every home kind of looked the same. The neighborhoods that we're covering today is none of them are gonna be like that. So Plaza and NODA, there wasn't one larger developer that came in and bought plots of land or anything. So you do have a wide variety and characters of homes. Here, most of the homes do have a good yard space. Most of them range around that 1/4 acre lot of a property. So you can still get the urban life. You can still get the walkability. You're just minutes from Uptown Charlotte. Hop on the light rail. You can get there. In some cases, you could even walk if you really felt like getting a good walk in. But there's a lot of like rhino markets down there and common markets over there, NODA breweries over there. So you've got a lot of really cool Charlotte local shops there. So it has a really unique feel to it. It's great for young professionals. It's also great for families. You know, the houses are big enough to accommodate a growing family if that's something that you are looking for. If the price point for Plaza Midwood or NODA is something that you can't quite get to right now, you're not comfortable with, look in the surrounding areas. There are neighborhoods such as Belmont, and yes, Belmont is a neighborhood. I am not talking about the city that's located northwest of Charlotte. I'm talking about the neighborhood that is located right outside of NODA and Plaza. This is a growing neighborhood as well. This too has gone through a lot of change where developers have come in and put up some houses, but you can still get a ranch style home, you know, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom in that 400-500 range. So if you kind of want the accessibility to all these features that Plaza Midwood and NODA have, but maybe you just can't find the property, don't be afraid to look in the neighborhoods in the outskirts. Some of them are just taking a little bit longer to change over. Some of them are going through that change right now, but I promise you, give it a little bit of time and they will be there, I promise. So don't be afraid to kind of expand past those borders. If you have any questions, my team and I would love to help you. We can tell you kind of what neighborhoods, where they're at in the phase of it. So reach out, my team and I, we have a full service. We'd love to help you out in any of the surrounding neighborhoods or any of the neighborhoods that we're going to talk about in this video. The next neighborhood that we're going to talk about is a part of Uptown. Yep, so Uptown Charlotte, when you look at a map, is the inner circle that's right in the city center right there. That entire area is called Uptown. We do not call it downtown here. It's because of the elevation. Fun fact, now you know. So Uptown Charlotte is actually divided into 4 different quarters. So we have the 1st ward, 2nd ward, 3rd ward, and 4th ward. All of them are great areas to live in. People specifically love the 1st ward. It's neighboring to Plaza Midwood and NODA and all those, but people specifically love this one because it's a good mixture of residential with business, with corporate. So you've got those skyscrapers, you've got the large buildings in Uptown, but you also have that give it a modern feel, but you also have historic buildings of like historic condo buildings that still have that old charm to it. It's walkable to any of the sports stadiums. You've got the Spectrum Center, you've got the Truist Field where the Knights play, you've got the Panthers Stadium downtown, and then you also have like local markets, like 7th Street Market is a indoor market shop where there's different food stalls and vendors there. This place gets slammed for weekday lunches, and right behind it is the light rail station. So you get that mixture of like modern, sleek looking, and you can also have the historic charm if you want. So people love the 1st ward. It really is very picturesque to kind of walk around that city feel of it. Again, the light rail goes through it. You've got access to everything Uptown, but you also have access to the light rail, so you can hop down and go to different neighborhoods if you want. You can take it down to South End, or you can even take it up to University area if you have a need to get up there. Here, you're not going to find any single family homes as you know, as you want it in most uptowns or most downtown places, most larger cities. If you want to live in the 1st ward area, you're gonna find yourself in a townhouse or a condo. And these go anywhere from a mid-rise or a sky-rise condo. You can get condos in there right now, anywhere in like the mid-3s. Like there was one that recently sold around $365, I believe. It was modern, it was sleek lines, and had a beautiful view of Uptown Charlotte. Or you can find one that's a little historic and charm, and they can go anywhere from starting in mid threes and up. So you really do have the run of the gamut. You've got your choices. You have lots of options. Again, you have to be okay with, you're not going to have a yard. You're going to have neighboring walls. You're going to be in a high rise or a condo. So if you have pets or something, definitely, you know, consider your options, consider what neighborhoods there might be better. So you don't have to like take your dog up and down, up and down, up and down, because I know sometimes that can be a little strenuous or tedious, but people love it uptown. People with kids go to the Mint Museum, or the Discovery Place Charlotte is specifically for kids. They always have a bunch of things going on. There's a park of Romare Bearden right in the middle of Uptown Charlotte. This doesn't have a playground in it, but it does have a lot of green space. It's got some water features and some fountains. So it's really fun just to go and like let your kids run around. There's also other parks and courtyards even. If you go behind some of these large buildings in Uptown Charlotte, there's a bunch of courtyards that have some things that kids can climb on and stuff. So while I say young professionals, and oftentimes this leads into a younger family age group as well, a lot of people are like, I don't want to live uptown with my kids, or if I'm having a family, it seems impossible. I'm telling you, it is possible, and there's a lot of things for young families and young children to do uptown. So if you kind of are coming from a larger city like Chicago or New York or even Boston, and you think that you're going to miss out on that city feel, don't rule it out. Definitely take a look at it. It's a really cool place to be. So that is First Ward. The next neighborhood is going to be South End. So this one is a booming entertainment district, residential district, you name it. I swear it's growing every single day. Every day I drive down South Boulevard to get to my office, and I'm like looking around every single day and I'm like, this building was not here yesterday. What is going on? So South End is expanding, and it's going to keep growing. It's one of Charlotte's entertainment districts, so it is a great daytime scene. It's a great nighttime scene. You can get everything from dance clubs to fine dining to a casual brewery. South End actually has the most breweries of Charlotte. There's over 9 to 10 of them. Again, every day there's a new one opening, I think, but we've got some of our favorites like Monday Night Brewing. OMB is Charlotte's oldest brewery. It has the largest beer garden. It is really, really cool. You've got some amazing restaurants like Hawker's Asian Market, or Stir is a really, really delicious place. I know they're over in Raleigh as well. But you have a ton of just restaurants and bars, and it's very walkable. The light rail goes through it. There's residential everywhere in this area. You can go like be right behind South End, and there's neighborhoods such as like Wilmore, so you can get a single family home over there. But if you're gonna stay quote unquote in that South End district, you're gonna find yourself in a townhouse or a condo, and these vary. Some of them are 3-4 stories with rooftop terraces, some are just 1-level condos. Prices again are all over the place. You can buy something in the 400,000s, and that can also go up in the 1 million. So there's something for everyone here. This is one of the most walkable places in Charlotte. You've got your Harris Teeter, you've got your UPS, you've got your co-working spaces, you've got the light rail to take you uptown if you need to go. You can walk to restaurants, you can walk to breweries. This honestly, they have dog parks down here, so you really would never need to leave your little quarter abandoned. I will say, for me personally, in my, we'll say mid to late 30s, sometimes when I go out in downtown or in South End, there's a couple places where I do tend to feel a little bit on the older side. And that could be a me thing. It could be I just don't know. Maybe I'm just not as staying up with the trends as I maybe thought I was. Because when I look around, I'll go to like one of the breweries or something down there, and I'll look around and I do think, oh my gosh, these people here are very young. I'm like that old person, right? I'm our parents, like, oh my God, these kids are so young. But overall, yes, this is where a lot of the younger population here in Charlotte does. But in general, if you were anywhere from the 25 range to the 40 range, and maybe even slightly above, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna see a wide variety. You're gonna see young kids out exploring the town, or you can see families. It is not uncommon here for families to, you know, bring your strollers and bring your kids. A lot of the breweries down in South End actually have playgrounds. Like OMB has a playground for kids to play in. There's another brewery that had an inside area that was specifically for kids. They had like the soft mats and stuff on it. So while we say young professionals, it is still very family friendly and not uncommon. You are not going to be those parents the only parents there with like a stroller feeling out of place. I promise you that's not the case here at all. Everywhere in South End, everywhere in any of these neighborhoods that we're saying are very family friendly. Obviously, if you go to a karaoke bar at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, that's not gonna feel so family friendly. But in general, daytime activities, evening activities, everything is super family friendly. So even though it might feel a little young, and I know there are some places, again, my husband and I will go out and I'm like, oh my God, we're the old people. We're the old people. And I like to think that we're not that old. But just know that it is a booming area. It is an entertainment district. You have comedy shows to fine dining to casual breweries to nightclubs. You have everything you want down there, all within walkability. Again, the light rail, you can hop on it. There's co-working spaces. So South End has become a huge entertainment district and a great spot for young professionals to land. Another neighborhood that is going to make it on this list, and this list, I kind of researched a bunch of lists that were already compiled from niche.com to best neighborhoods to just straight up Google. And I've kind of taken everything, they're all different. So there is not one specific opinion that works, but I'm sharing my personal thoughts on it, my experience on it. So this is a list of neighborhoods that are good for young professionals based on feedback from the internet, feedback from my friends here, and then also my personal preferences. So then you have a neighborhood such as Dilworth. Dilworth is consistently rated as the #1 neighborhood in Charlotte. It is one of Charlotte's historic neighborhoods. It was an original boxcar neighborhood. And if you want a picturesque neighborhood, Dilworth is the place to go. It is stunning. It is lush green streets. It is bungalow style homes. Every single home on it has a front porch. I have a video on Dilworth on our page, check it out. It's walkable. You've got some local spots right tucked in the middle of it, such as Dilworth Tasting Room. Then you also have East Boulevard. So East Boulevard will take you directly into South Boulevard, so it's not far at all from South End. So you can see they're all kind of like connected in some way. But East Boulevard is like the backbone of the neighborhood, and you can walk on there and you've got some of the best restaurants. You've got 300 East, you've got Copper, which is a delicious Indian restaurant. We get takeout from there all the time. You've got little local shops such as Paper Skyscrapers and Sunflower Baking Company for a bakery. There's also a ton of local businesses there, but it doesn't feel like a business district because they're old historic homes that they have turned into offices and stuff. So it's a really cool neighborhood. It is gorgeous. It is a historic neighborhood here in Charlotte. It's walkable. It's very family friendly. It is on the higher end price. You're likely not going to find something in there. I think I saw one pop up the other day that was like mid-8s, and it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, single family home. So if you need maybe like a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, you're going to be looking in the $1 million range, and there are older homes. So you kind of have to know that going into it, you have that historic charm, but you've got the ranch style bungalows, you got the 2-story Charleston style, you know, where they got the double-decker balconies and stuff. So it just is a beautiful neighborhood. It is super walkable to get to South End. You don't ever need to leave to go to South End if you don't want to, because you've got your own little neighborhood and business district within it. But you're also along Freedom Park, which is Charlotte's largest park. It's right in the middle of Myers Park and Dilworth. There's multiple access points to it. Little Sugarcurt Greenway goes right through it, and you can take that on, you know, if you're walking or you're bike riding or rollerblading, you can take that to Midtown, you can take it to Uptown, you can take it into South End, you can take it down south if you want. So it has a lot of access points to it. It has a super walkability factor to it, even if you're just like out wanting to take your dogs or your kids for a walk. Some of the best restaurants that Charlotte has are in Dilworth. And it's just gorgeous. Honestly, it is gorgeous. Once you get in Dilworth, if you can make your home work for your family's needs, people tend to stay there. So only a handful of homes come up available throughout the year in that neighborhood because it is a sought after place. But truly, it is one of the top neighborhoods in Charlotte for everybody, for young professionals, retirement crowd, you name it. It's just a great place to live. So that one consistently does make it to the list. Now, what I will say is if you are single in Charlotte, you know, you're perhaps in your 20s and you're looking for a little bit more of a nightlife scene, a little bit more of a lively crowd, maybe you like dive bars, maybe nice restaurants aren't quite your thing, Dilworth might not be your place that you want to go to. You might find yourself enjoying the options that maybe NODA has a little bit more, or even South End has a little bit more. So, but Dilworth is a little bit more of a low-key, casual, slower pace. You've got the park, you've got your good restaurants, you've got a couple coffee shops, a really pretty part of Charlotte, but not like that super high energy and loud. So those are the main differences between Dilworth and some of the other neighborhoods that we talked about, like Plaza and NODA and South End area. Moving on to our last neighborhood that we're gonna cover today is my favorite. I happen to be biased to it. I do live in the neighborhood and I love it. It is Madison Park. So Madison Park is located off of South Boulevard between Park Road. So it is the southernmost neighborhood that we're talking about today. It's just south of South End. It is an older neighborhood. It's a large neighborhood of all single family homes. So that's one of the big things too, is South End does not have single family homes. Uptown, First Ward, no single family homes. Plaza, Midwood, and NODA do have single family homes, but you're gonna be up in the millions for the most part of them. Madison Park is still considered an affordable neighborhood in Charlotte, and why I say it's really good for young professionals is it's been zoned at the time of this video. I know schools reassignments will happen and can happen at any time, but at the time of this video, it is zoned for one of the top school districts here in Charlotte of Myers Park. So it draws, since the rezoning has happened about 5 years ago, it's drawn young professionals into this area. But here you are walkable to places like Montford, which is an entertainment district here in Charlotte, right off of Park Road. It's got some of the favorite. Now these are casual restaurants like Mooseheads and Braswell's, great sports bars, great local bars. Mooseheads was known for like the best wings in Charlotte year over year. But then you also have nicer restaurants like Good Food on Montford. And we constantly have new restaurants and new businesses opening up. You're also walkable to Park Road Shopping Center, which was Charlotte's first open air shopping strip mall. It has your Harris Teeter, and it's got your Ace Hardware, and it's got some clothing boutiques and some skincare boutiques. So again, you kind of have your own little like community built into this area. The average home price here in Madison Park is in the 600 range. You can find something in the 550 range. You can also find something in the 700 range. So your homes are gonna be a bit smaller here. They range anywhere from 1,300 square foot up to, I would give it about 2,500 square foot, depending on if you have a split level or if you happen to have a basement here. They're not super common, but we are one of the neighborhoods in Charlotte that has a handful of homes here that do have basements. So a lot of young professionals here, a lot of young families have moved into Madison Park. You've got South End right down the road. You can walk to your closest light rail stations, about a 10-15 minute walk. You are going to be walking on South Boulevard, so it's not like a picturesque walk by any means, but there are sidewalks the entire way. And you can get there in 10-15 minutes if you want to take it uptown for a game or something. Or you can walk over, depending on what side of the neighborhood you're on, it could be like about a mile walk to Park Road Shopping Center to go to Brawley's to grab a drink. We've got some wine bars in the area, so it does have a community feel to it. We have a park right in the middle of the neighborhood for kids to play at. Even for adults, they've got disc golf or frisbee golf court there. So there's a lot of different options here. We have a Greenway entrance just down the road on Park Road here, so you can hop on the Greenway and you can take it uptown or into South End if you want. So you've got a lot of options. I like it because you still get a little bit removed from the craziness of South End and the busyness of Plaza, Midwood, and Uptown, but you still have your local bars and your restaurants if you want to go walk to them and just grab a drink or something with some neighbors. So there you have it. There is my list of the neighborhoods that I think are the best neighborhoods here in Charlotte for young professionals. Plaza, Midwood, NODA, and again, if those two aren't in your price point, look in the surrounding areas such as Belmont, Villa Heights. So just because they're not necessarily tax records in those neighborhoods for NODA or Plaza, Midwood, it's all pretty walkable, I promise you, over there. So if you have questions on those specific areas, reach out to my team and I would love to help you. But that whole area over there, you're gonna love it. You can't go wrong. Or if that's not if you're not interested in that area, look at Dilworth or Uptown or Madison Park. You have so many different options. They all have different feels. So I 10 out of 10 recommend that you take some time and go explore these neighborhoods. If you have any questions, please drop a comment below or reach out to my team and I. We'd love to help you. Give us a call anytime and we'll talk to you soon in the next video.